So what are we doing today? Well, obviously I'm inside the tractor, so that means I'm going to be doing a little tractor work. So as you know, it's February, and the weather's off and on here in Texas. Yesterday it was cold and windy, and today it's sunny and nice. And so I thought I'd do a little tractor work now that I got the battery situation under control with the tractor. That's a whole nother story, but anyway, I thought I'd take you along. So I'm going to mount this camera to the front of the tractor windshield so you can go with me. So my tractor's just above, just warm enough to be above the cool part of the dial. So it's time to start moving her along over to the mulch pile. So as it turns out, there was a guy on the outside of my gate a couple days ago, and he weighed me down. So I walked all the way down the driveway, and he said, "Hey, you want some more mulch? I noticed you had mulch piles in the front of your place." And I said, "Sure, I'll take as much as you can give me." So I got my first batch of new mulch, and so I'm gonna kind of use up some of my old mulch to make room for the new mulch that I hope I get. I only got one pile so far, but I'll keep on reminding him, and I leave my gate open during the week when they're working, cleaning out the electric lines along the county roads. So I do appreciate it because it makes for really good soil. You just kind of have to, give it time. And for them, it saves them the cost or the time of having to go to a landfill and pay or dump off all the trucks worth of chipped branches and wood particles that they get from the sides of the roads. I've heard a different number of things. They say mulch, if it's new, will suck up the nitrogen from the plants. I'm not sure about that, but it does do a really good job of just simply shaving out the weeds. And so it's worked well in the past, and so it's a practice that I will continue to do because it has worked. Because God knows I've tried enough things that don't seem to work. So I'm started a new garden that the NRCS has actually taken a look at, and you're probably asking yourself, well, why do you want the NRCS to look at your garden? Well, simply put, they're kind of giving away money. So I haven't been farming for 10 years yet, and when you're a new farmer, they kind of have this special category that either pays you the money up front or pays you a little bit more of, we'll just call it a subsidy. It's not really a subsidy, it's more like a grant, or I guess a subsidy could be a grant every year. However you want to look at it. Basically, I look at it like free money for stuff I'd do anyway. So anyway, the other day, I brought them down because I have this one area that, because I was putting hay out in this area, storing it, it must have had a lot of weed seed in all that hay, because these 10-foot tall stalks grew up all last year in the summer, and I just didn't even have the ability to want to go out there and chop it down. But I decided that because of the soil is real tilthy in that area, sorry, I'm going to slam the door. The soil is real tilthy in that area. I was like, this would be a great place to, put a garden. Because I have multiple spots where I put gardens where the land was either really bad and I improved it, or I wanted to build up the land because there was some erosion there. And it was just a convenient spot to have my gardens because it was near where I live. And as you know, when you're near something where you live at, you tend to it more. So in case you're doing chickens or gardens or whatever, bees, whatever you're doing, the closer it is, the more likely you are to work on it. So if you're setting up a homestead or something, it's not you being lazy, it's just human nature. You tend to go where it's closest to you. You tend to see it all the time, so it reminds you that you need to do something with it. So I decided to improve this area because I just don't want to deal with the weeds every year down here, because that hay I got was apparently really weedy, and it does have good soil. So anyway, I'm with the story about the NRCS here, and they had a new guy who was specializing in urban farming. And as you know or don't know, the NRCS subsidizes up to a certain amount per square foot for the high towers that you see a lot on homesteading YouTubes and stuff like that. But I checked it out, and I honestly think they're kind of ugly. And that plastic around here, I just don't think it's going to last all that long, because I get these like crazy straight line winds here, and I just kind of think they're ugly. And this is kind of a commercial operation anyway, to some degree, because I am for profit. I just, for the amount of money they are, I just can't see it, because it would be, when push comes to shove, all the stuff that I want on it, it's an extra $5,000 per house, because they're running about $10,000. And of course, most of the suppliers know how much the NRCS is giving for farmers to put up the houses, and it's like just amazing how the price rose to what the subsidy is, and then some. So before I spent like $5,000 on something that I watched a lot of YouTube, and they look like good opportunities, but I was like, I don't know, I just can't justify that kind of money. So then they said, I had applied for it once, and I had to cancel because I hurt my back in a car accident. So I reapplied, and then they said, hey, we have this new thing. It's low towers. Well, of course, I got on YouTube and I did some research on low towers, and then people say they're a real pain in the butt because they're like high maintenance. You have to, bring the shade cloth up, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, maybe not that. I don't know. So then when I brought the guy out, he said, yeah, you can have it up to 6 feet. Not 6 feet, but up to 6 feet. And I thought, well, that works for me because I'm 5'8", and I can walk in it. And if I make it out of cow panels, which I don't, unlike the high tires, you have to buy from an approved kit maker, and hence the price increase apparently. And even have it like professionally installed, because you got to drive these stakes into the ground. I was like, gosh dang, it's like building a house practically. And I thought, that just seems like a lot of work. So I opted in for low towers, which are kind of like, I would call medium towers, because I can get, with one cow panel, I can cover 2 rows as long as I want and still have the head clearance of a little less than 6 feet. Of course, it depends on the dimensions of your rows and all, but mine basically are at, if you just put a board, I'll show you later, if you just put a board with rebar, keeping the board in, and then put the cow panel braced up against that board, you can get 92 inches of width, and you can stand up in it if you're not 6 feet. And I thought, well, that really looks sturdy to me. So I saw a lot of people on YouTube putting up exactly those little medium hoop houses. And I thought, this is exactly what I need. Something that's intermediate to what I want to try and practice. Because, the insects and the frost just kill everything here. And then the heat. You got 3 things to contend with. You got the heat in the summer, you got the insects in the spring and summer, and then you have the cold in the winter. So either way, you really reduce the amount of production you get out of your crops, garden. And I'm really a believer in self-sufficiency, and I'd like to encourage everybody to, at least plant some of their food. I mean, potatoes, they're almost a no-brainer. And in fact, that's exactly what I'm going to plant in this garden. So anyway, getting back to the NRCS. So the guy comes out and he says, have you ever planted here? And me and my big mouth, I go, no, this is a brand new garden right here because I wanted to use the good soil. He goes, well, can't help you. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't help me? I want to put a garden here and put a tower. He says, oh, but it has to be on gardens that are already established. So, real quick thinking, I was like, gosh, I got like all these people out here looking at my stuff. Hey, I have these set up gardens that I'm having trouble with. Can you support that? So I took them over to my current garden that has Brussels sprouts in it, and my chard was visibly, well, almost non-existent due to the frost. And I said, yeah, I'm having trouble, with extended seasons here. And he said, okay, I can help you out. This is actually an initiative just for Texas, but it's basically a pilot program to, if this is successful, being people like me, if this works, it's a possible program for, future, more permanent programs, I guess. So anyway, he actually brought up the idea of the cattle panels and that you don't have to buy a kit, and it's really up to your artistic imagination as to what to do with these towers. So I'm just gonna kind of park the tractor a little bit close. This was my experimentation of height and ease of construction, and I honestly do not think you could get any easier about a hoop house than this. And one, the materials sometimes go on sale, and I could use the lumber that I already had. So I don't know if you can appreciate it, but I'm parked right in front of a single cow panel that's hooped, and I just have these cedar boards that are, I'd say, about 12 inches high, and I have rebar that hold them in place. Now granted, they're not necessarily straight right now, but I just wanted to see if by pushing and raising the hoop house, whether I could get it a little bit below 6 feet, and easily enough. And with the spacing I already had, 30-inch beds with so much spacing, which is like a total of two beds, and the spacing 92 to 94 inches. So I thought, this is a winner. I'm definitely going to sign up for this. But what I also found out, and I'm going to have to clarify this, if you apply for a hoop house, if you want one, it's one application. If you want two, it's not under the same application. You have to do another application. So if the smaller hoop houses, they call them urban hoop houses, I believe, or low hoop houses, I'm going to make sure that I at least have 4, because I'll have 2 at this garden, and then because of the seasonal change, I have to prove that this garden that I'm currently setting up was indeed a garden. In summer, I can reapply and then have this garden come under that program, but I have to first establish a garden. So I would definitely suggest that you go to the NRCS and ask them what's available in your area, and see if that applies to you. And I do know, and I don't know if this is specific because I wasn't overly interested in it, because I do want to plant in the ground, but they do have a raised bed program where I believe that they help design the beds. And when I say raised bed, I mean off the ground with a bottom board of some sort, not like a bed that's still where your plants still reach the ground. So I found that those programs are very applicable to any homesteader, and since it's a federal program, it's mostly, many of these programs are available to everybody, just depending on your particular state. And there's a magnitude of different programs for different things, like cross fencing and ponds and low water crossings, just to name a few. It depends on whether you're under an equipped program or a CSP program. There's a number of programs, and I'm not really going to get into it during this discussion, but just be aware that the NRCS they're pretty handy folks. Some of them really know their stuff, and other ones are just learning. But I don't have a problem with those that help me out, because they're more knowledgeable, and those that are learning, because I honestly feel like I kind of give back, and then later, if I tell them something that I've experienced, then they know about it, and maybe they can spread the word to the other people that they're visiting for whatever program that they need them out there for. So it's worked out fairly well for me personally. So anyway, today, as you can see, I'm just pretty much going back and forth, and I'm loading mulch into the garden area for the bedding, or not so much the bedding, but next to the bedding, to spread wood chips so that I don't have so many weeds there, because it was too embarrassing for me to show on film. That's how bad I was. So that's what we're doing today on this beautiful day. So I'm taking full advantage of it, making sure my tractor battery gets charged with the alternator. And so that's what we're doing today. I hope you have a productive day as well. Bye-bye.